PlugShare is an app that can be used in order to provide some reconnaissance for the charging infrastructure that's in your community or along a route you're planning to take a trip on. It could be that you're a new EV owner and you're unfamiliar with PlugShare, or perhaps you own a Tesla and it's never become necessary because built into the car is a very easy navigation system that will direct you to superchargers. And really, there's no reason to venture off the supercharger sandbox in order to get charging from other locations. But if you own a non-Tesla and you've had it for any length of time, very likely you already know about PlugShare. One thing that makes PlugShare different is although the skeleton of the data presented in the app is provided through integration with charging network databases, most of the important information is provided by human beings. And why that's important is a artificial intelligence engine can really only tell so much about a given location. It could tell you Boolean values, meaning on or off, meaning is the station currently in use? Is the station offline? Is the station available? Things like that. A human being can tell you many other things because a person driving a box of steel rolling on asphalt with rubber tires and a lithium battery that's propelling them has a much different perspective than an artificial intelligent engine that's being fed data in order to be trained. Some things you might find out is, the bathroom is ridiculously dirty at this location. It feels kind of dangerous. There's no lights. The card reader doesn't work. I went on support and I spent 30 minutes going back and forth and the damn thing is still broken. Or everything worked great. This place is amazing. They even have Slurpees. Artificial intelligence engines don't tell you that. The important information, in my opinion, is provided by the community feedback for the locations. Now, the way this works is as you're going around charging at public locations, and it's said that if you have a home and a place to charge at home, 90% of your charging is done at home, and only 10% of your charging is done with public charging infrastructure. I found that to be true. If we're on a road trip, I'm going to use public charging infrastructure. If I'm curious and I'm just exploring because I'm an EV enthusiast, I'll go out and check it out, things like that. But most of my charging is done in my garage. It's just so darn convenient. We've got 2 EVs in there, and you could fill up in 4 hours while you're sleeping, or baking a cake, or weeding the garden or whatever. It's just very convenient. I don't go to gas stations anymore. It's unnecessary. But I'm also a EV enthusiast, and I do like to participate in the PlugShare community. What I've found is that if you look at the information that people are providing for public charging infrastructures, there's basically 2 camps. There's people who drive Teslas and charge at superchargers, and then there's everyone else. If you use the doctor's index for pain, with 1 being, hey, everything's fine, and 10 being, oh my God, I think this is my last breath, I'm in so much excruciating pain. Tesla people's comments tend to be at a pain level of 1 or 2. No pain whatsoever. It's just very easy. Everyone else kind of hovers between a 10 and a 4 with their doctor's pain level. And because I own 2 non-Teslas, they will be getting access to the Tesla Supercharger network shortly. One is a Volvo, the other is GM Cadillac, and both have announced that they're going to be using supercharger networks coming in the spring. But regardless, I participate as a community member in PlugShare in order to provide real-world feedback for the charging infrastructure in my community and in locations in which I take trips. Last week, there were 4 additional locations which were added. All of them were level 2, and all of them were using a charging network called ChargeUp. I'm like, ChargeUp? And they all showed up all on the same day, which I found kind of strange. ChargeUp is a not well-known charging network. I had the app downloaded because we went to Disney World last summer, and some of the chargers in the Orange Garage, if you know the Disney Marketplace, the Disney Springs area, the Orange Garage is immediately adjacent to them. So ChargeUp was there, and I'm like, well, I'll get a ChargeUp app, and then I loaded it with $20, and we went there. We ended up not using it, so I've had $20 in the ChargeUp app ever since. I'm like, oh, ChargeUp is coming to Charlotte. That's very good to hear. But all 4 of these showed up all on the same day, and all of them seem to be associated with Duke Energy. Duke Energy has a program called Park and Plug, which puts DC charging infrastructure in rural communities. It also does level 2 charging locations in rural communities as well. They're very, what's the word I'm looking for? They're very aggressive with the rollout of their DC fast chargers into the rural communities. They've been popping up all over North Carolina, South Carolina as of late, and the level 2 build out. So I thought this was some kind of mass build out, and Duke Energy was going to be switching to ChargeUp. And so this one is not too far away from my house. Here's my trip. So yesterday I noticed on PlugShare that there was 4 locations that suddenly became newly available on the ChargeUp network. All of them are run by Duke Energy, which is the local utility for electricity here in the Charlotte metropolitan area. And for their DC fast charging network, they use the Shell Recharge network. So these level 2 chargers all look to be free. As I said, 4 different locations. I'm just going to go check one of them out and see what they're like.
Take a slight right turn. PlugShare Boulevard toward Newton.
So Duke Energy, underneath their Park and Plug program, have been very aggressively installing DC fast chargers throughout communities in their service area, which
In 1 mile, the destination is on your left, 1900 North Main Street.
Includes most of North Carolina, most of South Carolina, portions of Florida, and a few other select locations. Their Park and Plug program installs a pair of DC fast chargers in the central portion of rural communities. Seems to be the pattern that they're following. Instead of following interstate corridors, they're trying to service electric vehicle owners within smaller communities, which I think is very noble. They don't appear to be getting any kind of government funds. They seem to just be trying to spur on electrical vehicle adoption by making DC fast charging readily available. And it looks like also what has happened is they have installed level 2 chargers at their own corporate facilities. The location we're going to today is a Duke Energy training facility. And if I had to guess, let's see, is this it? No, that's not it. If I had to guess, these level 2 chargers have been in existence for a while and have just now been listed on the PlugShare? Let's find out. Is this it? No, that's not. That's an elementary school. All right, here we go.
The destination is on your left, 1900 North Main Street. Arrived.
So when I got there, there was a gate with barbed wire on the top, closed. It was a Sunday, and a button to press in order to call security. I did so, and I got the security ops center, who I asked, "Hey, is this a public location?" The person said, "No, it's just for employees." And I said, "Oh, okay." As a PlugShare community member, I recognize what likely occurred is that these 4 locations started using the Charge Up network all on the same day. Someone probably filled out a form on a website somewhere in Duke, and all of these locations started using the Charge Up network in order for authentication. Except they're all employee-only locations. So, in order to keep someone from driving over here expecting to get a charge, I went into it, and there's a selection for restricted access. And that will alert people with EVs looking for chargers, letting them know, hey, you can't actually get to this charger. This is only for employees. In fact, I probably should edit it and say employees only. I think there's an option for employees only. Where is it? Guess only, right here, employees only. And so now, as a community member, I've just provided the feedback that may be helpful for someone in the future. I think I'll save it just like that. So it's real world people driving real cars on real roads who fill the color into the data that PlugShare provides. And as a EV enthusiast and a community member of PlugShare, I try to be helpful in that respect. And so when I come up to a location that is listed as public, and I see a gate with barbed wire, and there's a guy here on the intercom saying employees only, I'm going to take a moment and let everyone else know, hey, don't come here. This is a restricted area. And I'll do my part as a good EV citizen. So anyway, if you're not familiar with PlugShare, it's available to not only chart out locations for you to go and charge, but provide the feedback. That feedback is very helpful for other people in the community. And really, that's where the important data comes from. Computers can only get you so much. Basically, they operate in on and off mentality. Real people will tell you, hey, there's a lot of graffiti in this area. It's not a lot of sense of safety. Or, hey, there's a great Mexican restaurant right across the street. They serve really good appetizers. They're quick. And the owners are very friendly to the EV people charging, or things like that. So go ahead and chime into PlugShare. Use it for your own benefit, but also leave some information behind. Hope this helped.